So, Avi Loeb has just come forward with new information about 3I Atlas, and what we're learning today officially marks the 12th anomaly tied to this object. And honestly, this one might be the strangest of them all, because the math we've relied on for a century straight up refuses to explain what we're observing. Loeb has 3 main theories for what's going on. Actually, 4. But I personally don't buy the last one. Before we dive into those theories, we need to break down what this new anomaly actually is and why it's so deeply unsettling. 7 separate telescopes have now measured the rotation rate of 3I Atlas with incredible precision. The data is crystal clear. It completes one rotation every 16.16 hours. This wasn't a one-off result either. We measured it repeatedly from July through August and got the exact same number every time. So the rotation period is rock solid. In a previous video, we talked about how new images taken on November 9th revealed massive jets of gas, stretching literally millions of kilometers into space. Loeb ran the numbers, and at the speed these jets are moving, it should take roughly 1 full month for the gas to travel from the surface of the object to the outermost visible parts of those jets, and this is where everything collapses. During that 1-month travel time, how many times does 3I Atlas spin? If it rotates once every 16.16 hours, that's around 1.5 rotations per day. Over 30 days, you're looking at about 45 full rotations. So here's the problem. When an object in space is spinning while ejecting material, basic physics tells us the material should spread out. The object keeps rotating, but the material continues moving in a straight line. So the result is a smeared out spiral or a set of curved diverging trails pointing in different directions. This is exactly how rotating comets behave. But the images of 3I Atlas, they break that rule completely. The jets look like laser beams, sharp, narrow, perfectly defined. They don't smear, they don't twist, and they don't fan out into spirals. Each jet points in one clean, consistent direction across distances of 1 million kilometers or more that simply should not be possible if the object is completing 45 rotations while the gas travels outward. Before going deeper, I want to point out something almost no one seems to be talking about. Just days before those November 9th images, we had other images showing no jets, no tails, nothing. That sudden appearance is an anomaly by itself. But let's stay focused on the 12th and newest anomaly. For now, like I said earlier, Loeb has several theories. Let's break them down, and why every single one has problems. Theory 1. Maybe the rotation rate slowed dramatically between August and November. If 3I/Atlas barely spins anymore, that would prevent the jets from smearing out. Simple idea, but major issue. When jets eject unevenly from a comet-like object, they cause it to spin faster, not slower. There's no natural mechanism here that would abruptly reduce the rotation speed, especially not by the massive amount required. And on top of that, images from November 11th show the object completely intact, without signs of sudden disruption. So unless something catastrophic happened without leaving a trace, Theory 1 doesn't really work. Theory 2. Maybe the surface has extreme topography. Deep craters surrounded by tall cliffs or ridges. Ice could be sitting at the bottom of these valleys, normally shadowed. As the object spins, once per rotation, the sun lines up at the perfect angle and hits those ice pockets, triggering a quick burst of gas before the area falls back into shadow. In theory, that would produce narrow jets that pulse every 16 hours rather than a constant spray. But here's the fatal flaw. If jets pulse every 16 hours and the gas takes a month to travel outward, we should see separate puffs, like beads on a necklace, spaced along the jet. But what we observe is a smooth, continuous beam. No gaps, no pulse signatures. So, Theory 2 collapses as well. Theory 3. Maybe the object broke apart, and what we're seeing are debris trails rather than jets. But we've already confirmed the object didn't fragment. Its structural integrity appears unchanged across all observations. So unless every telescope misinterpreted the images the same way, which is extremely unlikely, this theory doesn't hold up either. Now, before I unpack Loeb's final theory, I want you to remember something. This is not the first impossible thing about 3I/Atlas. Not even close. This is anomaly number 12. Here's a quick reminder of what makes this object so bizarre. It contains way more nickel than any known comet. It's only 4% water, even though comets are supposed to be mostly ice. Its light polarization is unlike anything measured in known space objects. It came from almost the exact direction of the "wow" signal from 1977. It brightened faster than any comet ever observed. The way it reflects light doesn't match comets or asteroids. Every time a natural explanation seems to fit, the next observation destroys it. First it looked like a comet, until we saw almost no water. Then maybe it was a dry comet, until the polarization readings came back totally wrong. Then maybe an asteroid. But asteroids don't produce million-kilometer gas jets. Every answer just raises 3 more questions. And now here we are, facing a rotation problem that makes no sense. The jets behave as if the object isn't rotating at all, even though we know it is. Right now, researchers are using spectrographs to analyze the jets in detail. What they're made of, how fast they're moving, and how much mass they contain. This data is crucial because it will tell us whether these jets are normal comet gases or something else entirely. If the spectrographic results show water vapor and CO2 moving at around 1,400 kilometers per hour, then maybe there is some strange natural mechanism at play that scientists just haven't discovered yet. Maybe there's exotic interstellar ice involved, or unknown physics related to how ancient objects behave after traveling between star systems for millions of years. But if the measurements come back unusual, if the speeds are wrong, the composition is wrong, or the amount of mass being ejected doesn't make sense, then the natural explanations are in major trouble. Which brings us to Loeb's 4th theory. What if these jets aren't jets at all? What if they're thrusters? Think about how spacecraft operate. When a spacecraft fires thrusters, those thrusters are pointed in specific, fixed directions. Even if the craft is tumbling, the thruster orientation doesn't depend on the rotation of the hull. It depends on the navigation system controlling the thrust vector. That means you can maintain a consistent directional thrust even while the craft itself spins. If 3I/Atlas has some sort of propulsion system, even a primitive or malfunctioning one, it would explain perfectly why the jets remain straight despite 45 rotations. A thruster system would fire at precise intervals to maintain fixed direction output. In other words, this is exactly what controlled navigation looks like. Over the next several weeks, we're getting spectroscopy, velocity readings, and mass loss data. If everything looks like a typical comet, scientists will have to discover some new physics that explains how jets can remain straight despite constant rotation. That would be revolutionary on its own. But if the data doesn't match comet chemistry, then we may be looking at the first object in human history that doesn't fit into the natural universe as we understand it. Whatever the answer is, one thing is clear. What we're seeing right now should not be possible. And whatever explanation emerges, it's going to change everything. If you watched all the way through, tell me which theory you think fits best. Or share your own. Drop a like, and I wish you a blessed day ahead.